Web of lies which spun China's psychological operations against India has been crushed by India. In fact, after the Chinese state machinery posted a video on New Year claiming that their PLA soldiers unfurled the Chinese flag at Galwan, today Times now exposes the truth and puts out the real picture at Galwan Valley on 1st of January this year. Well, the picture which exposes China's fakery, and we are going to put out both the pictures there that you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, on the left-hand side of your screens. In fact, the picture shows how our Tiranga was held high by our Indian soldiers at Galwan. You look at the differences in the two pictures and how they expose China's lies. For that, let me go across to our consulting editor, Srinjoy Chaudhary, who's joining us. Ratan Sharda, an author, is also here on our show. Maruf Raza, our consulting editor, will be joining us as well. Srinjoy, if I can come to you first, you must explain to us the tale of these two stories, China's lie versus the Tiranga at Galwan. Which one do we believe and why?
Well, the most important thing is that in the Galwan Valley, the Chinese are not there because a certain area has been demilitarized. It is an area where there are no Indians, and the Chinese have stepped back considerably. So from the Galwan, they are at least 2 kilometers away. Now, Meghna, if, for instance, they were in Galwan and raised the flag, long before they could even circulate those videos, the Indian army would have known, the Indian government would have known, and the Indian security agencies would have known. And very immediately, it would have been a breach of agreement. It would have been a breach of an agreement between two generals of the Indian army, because this was the zone where the Chinese have moved away from, and they have agreed not to be there. Now, if they were coming back, then very clearly it would be a breach of an international agreement, an agreement between two sovereign nations. So that would be a big, big problem, and the Chinese would not do it. Now, what Global Times has done is taken a picture of the situation 2 kilometers away from the actual Galwan position. And there, at that actual Galwan position, away from there, 2 kilometers away, they have raised the flag and done whatever they wanted to do. Now they have every right to do whatever they are doing in their territory. They can raise as many flags as they want. But very clearly, it is not Galwan. And they should be making it very clear that they are not in Galwan, but they are somewhere else. Now that is really pure propaganda. That is really pure lies. And this is purely dissembling. Now, who is it for? It is for the people of China. The Global Times wants to tell the people of China and their supporters all over the world that China is where it is, when it isn't. Now it is perhaps extremely unacceptable for people in India, people who should know better, to actually believe what Global Times, a propaganda vehicle, is putting out.
You're absolutely right, Srinjoy. This is a concerted effort by China, not for the first time. The psychological warfare that they have been carrying out, the psyops as they are called, is something that China is known for. The fakery, the propaganda, all of it lies busted in these two frames now. In fact, let's show our viewers these two frames. Now, this is the first window, which is going to juxtapose the lies that China has been spinning along with the truth, where the Indian Tiranga is flying high at Galwan. First, let's look at the video. Now, this is a video, remember, being very conveniently posted by Chinese government-backed websites, media houses, as well as journalists. For example, this is by a journalist called Shen Shui, and he's someone who is a Chinese government-affiliated media person. That is what his Twitter handle also says. He's put out this picture and he has claimed that this is Chinese presence at Galwan. He has shown all these soldiers in these unsnowed caps of Galwan, as he claims. many of the defense experts that we've been speaking to, as well as the sources within the government, have said that on 1st of January, it's not possible to have barren mountains such as this. 1st of January, when it is at that altitude so very high, when you have a lot of snowfall also, which these areas are receiving, it's not possible that it's going to be barren. As you can see, the peaks are all barren. There is no snow which is visible in any of it. Those people who are familiar with the terrain, the sources within the Defense Ministry have made it very clear it's not possible that 1st of January would not have any snowfall, as this propaganda videos have been put out by the Chinese state-run media. However, here on Times Now, we've busted every lie of China. Very clearly, you can see how our Indian braves, along with the Tiranga, are there at Galwan. This, as per experts, is what it would look like on the 1st of January. The terrain, as well as the timing of these videos put out by China-run, the state-run media houses, is suspect. In fact, as Srinjoy was also pointing out, experts are saying that it's possible that this is not even 1st of January. If it is indeed 1st of January, it's possible that it's about 1.5 to 2 kilometers on the other side of the buffer zone. Remember, between India and China, after the 13 rounds of talks which have happened, they've agreed upon a buffer zone. In that area, neither Indian nor Chinese patrolling will be done. On the other side, about 1.5 to 2 kilometers on the other side of the Chinese buffer zone, that it is being believed that these videos may have originated. However, very conveniently, Chinese media has been peddling them as Galwan Valley, which is an absolute lie. So let me go across to Ratan Sharda, who's joining us. And sir, I ask you this because over the last 2 days, there are those who are saying the Prime Minister's weak, that there is a weak reply which has been given by our forces. There are those who've questioned the valor of the Galwan martyrs as well. So, in fact, let me put that question across to Major General G.D. Bakshi, a defense analyst who's joining us. General Saab, today when here on Times Now we've exposed what the truth is, China's lies have been busted. But it's convenient, wouldn't you say, for some people to accept what China's been peddling, to fall into the trap of their psyops?
Look, the last war that the Chinese fought was 42 years ago. And that was Vietnam, where they lost. They got a bloody nose. After that, they fought no kinetic action whatsoever. This is an army that believes in posturing, making faces, then doing what is called information operations, propaganda operations, media warfare, cyber warfare, psychological warfare, etc., etc., etc. Biological warfare is what they have waged most successfully on the rest of the world, right? When it comes to actual warfare, and when they had a clash with our boys at Galwan, when we lost 20, they lost over 100. They lost over 100 and they hid that from their own people. We openly said, yes, these are our boys who were martyred, who laid down their lives. We gave them very proud military funerals. We honored their next of kin, etc., in front of the whole nation, in front of the whole world. China hid. And that is what is galling for the Chinese people. So China is now trying to do a whitewash job, a fakery job with this fake video, with this fakery of something that was in time and in terrain conditions which are quite different from that of Galwan's. You can see the difference. You can see the color of that soil. Ladakh has that ochre color, right? The Tibetan side doesn't have it. So the fact of the matter is that even in the terms of the snow precipitation, there is that clear difference which is visible. Their fakery has been caught out. Their tricks have been seen through and their lies have been exposed.
Right. General Saab is telling us, look at the ochre that we can see in these mountains. This is what Galwan Valley looks like. These are experts of the defense who are well aware of what the terrain is. This is what 1st of January at Galwan is likely to look at. However, this is the inconsistencies which have been put out by the Chinese state-run media. We've been showing you here on yesterday too on Times Now. We told you how the lies of the global times are now being exposed, framed frame by frame, as General Saab is also explaining to us. This is what the terrain is going to look like, the ochre color of these mountains. This is what Galwan should be looking at, and look at the amount of snow which you can see very clearly. On 1st of January at high altitudes such as this, it can be expected that there's going to be heavy snowfall, and it's not going to be barren hills like you can see in these fake videos and pictures which have been tweeted by the Chinese-run media. But let me go across also to Ratan Sharda. Ratan Sharda, having said that, but before that, I believe there is Maruf Raza also, who's joining us, a consulting